Good morning, First Baptist Church. Welcome back. We are looking forward to seeing everybody. Hopefully things are winding down. We'll get to meet together soon, hopefully, and real soon. So we're going to sing this morning, start our service out. Sunshine in my soul. There is sunshine in my soul today, more glorious and bright, and glows in any earthly sky, for Jesus is my life. Oh, there's sunshine, blessed sunshine, in the peaceful, happy moments roll. When Jesus shows his smiling face, there is sunshine in my soul. There is music in my soul today, a carol to my King. And Jesus listening can hear the songs I cannot sing. Oh, there's sunshine, blessed sunshine, when the peaceful, happy moments roll. When Jesus shows his smiling face, there is sunshine in my soul. There is gladness in my soul today, and hope and peace and love, for blessings which he gives me now, for joys laid up above. Oh, there's sunshine, blessed sunshine, when the peaceful, happy moments roll. When Jesus shows his smiling face, there is sunshine in my soul. Amen. Father God, we just come to you this morning, lift up our church and our members. God, the church that's out in the audience tonight, Father, we just lift them up. I hope things are going well with them. Hope you're blessing their lives and making their time useful. God, we just lift up our church this morning and lift our pastor up as he brings the message this morning. Just go with us in these times of struggle, Father, and help us, Father, bring these things to an end soon. God, we love you and we praise you. In your name we pray. Let it be said of us that the Lord was our passion, that with gladness we bore every cross we were given, that we fought the good fight.
the song, guys. Father, we thank you so much that you want us to grow and with you, your life brings new life to us. And we find ourselves desiring you more and more. Please help us to be your people in this world. Speak to us this morning through the service. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Well, turn with me to 1 Peter chapter 1. Guys, I've got good news for you this morning. We serve a redeeming God. We read that message in 1 Peter chapter 1. 1 Peter 1, 18, 19 says, "For you know that it was not with the perishable things, such as silver or gold, that you were redeemed from the empty way of life handed down to you from your forefathers, but with the precious blood of Christ, the Lamb without blemish or defect." God is in the redeeming business. It's what he does. It's how he operates. He redeems. The idea of redeeming is this. To redeem is to gain or regain something in exchange for payment. You redeem when you go to the pawn shop to get something out of hock. You give a payment, you receive back what you placed in the hock. I've heard people throughout history purchasing slaves just so that they could set them free. A.J. Gordon was the pastor of a church there in Boston. And he saw a little boy walking down the street, holding a cage that had some birds in it. Then Gordon asked the boy, said, "Son, where'd you get those birds?" He said, "Oh, I just got them out in the field, caught them." Then he said, "Well, what are you planning on doing with them?" And he said, "Well, I guess I'm going to play with them a little bit, then probably feed them to my cat there at the house." Gordon offered to buy them. The kid said, "Mister, you don't want them. They're just old wild birds. They don't even sing very well." Gordon replied, "I'll give you $2 for the birds and the cage." Then the little boy said, "You're making a terrible mistake. They're not worth that." Then Gordon says, "I'll pay you anyways." They made the exchange. Then A.J. Gordon gets the birds. The kid is happy with his new $2. He gets the birds. He takes them behind the church. He opens the door and sets the birds free. That's the picture of redeeming. And it's a picture of what God does for us as well. Once again, redemption is to gain or regain possession of something in exchange for payment. We've been trapped by sin. We've been captured by Satan. God purchases us not with money, not with silver and gold, but with his blood. He makes the payment that we can't make, and then he sets us free. He redeems us. That's what Peter was saying in verse 18 and 19. Let me read it again. "For you know that it was not with perishable things, such as silver or gold, that you were redeemed from the empty way of life handed down to you from your forefathers, but with the precious blood of Christ, a lamb without blemish or defect. God redeemed us by purchasing us with his blood. But what did he redeem us from? The birds were redeemed from the boy who had them caged, and redeemed them from being fed to the cat. Right? Slaves were redeemed from their slave masters, a life of slavery. Whatever it was that we had in Hog was redeemed from the pawn shop guy, being owned by the pawn shop guy. But what have we been redeemed from? From a life of sin? For sure. But verse 18 says more. It says that we were redeemed from the empty way of life handed down to us. Have you found that the way of life that you were told was going to make you so happy, bring you such satisfaction, give you a level of contentment that doesn't really measure up at all? Have you found that the way of life that was supposed to be so great isn't all that great? We find, guys, that it's not all it's cracked up to be. Maybe we bought into the lie that having money will satisfy us. It doesn't. Then maybe we think that having that tile on our desk or that tile on our door is where it's at. Maybe it's on our own land. Maybe we bought into the lie that the best life is being able to retire at age 50. Or maybe this lie that the best life is the one where we don't have to work. We can do what we want to do. Nobody can tell us what to do. You can fill in the blank with almost anything. And we'll find that whatever we bought into, that the world told us was going to make us so happy, actually does nothing to satisfy. If we haven't followed that road all the way to the end, I'll tell you where that road ends. That road ends in no satisfaction. Though you may be busy, you may be important, and guys, you may be filthy rich, but that road will leave you empty, unsatisfied, unfulfilled. That's what Jesus came to redeem us from. You've been redeemed from the empty way of life handed down to you. But notice there's more to that verse. You're redeemed from the empty way of life handed down to you from your forefathers. That way of life wasn't just dreamed up among the people that they hung out with one day. It wasn't spur of the moment. It was a way of life handed down to them from their forefathers. God was redeeming them from the only way of life they'd ever known. For them, it was make sacrifices, go to the festivals, be good on your own merit. It's the only way of life they'd ever known. Then maybe we've bought into that fact. We've bought into the end of that road, then we see that it's not working like we thought, then we wonder, okay, maybe I'm just not doing this life good enough. Maybe I need to work harder. Maybe I need a better break. Man, I need to just get lucky just once. Maybe I need a better spouse. Maybe what we need is to get away from that whole ideology, that whole philosophy. Jesus came to rescue us from that meaningless existence. He came to redeem us. He came to set us free. John 8:36 says, "So if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed." Have you found yet that the way of life that's handed down to you promises so much, but delivers so little? My prayer is that you would discover that sooner rather than later. But God doesn't stop there. If all He ever did was redeem us spiritually, that'd be more than enough for us throughout all eternity. But God's so good, He doesn't stop there. He redeems the situations we face for His good also. He redeems situations as well as people. Nothing is beyond His reach of redemption. Nothing. Guys, He's a redeeming God. That's what He does. So Romans 8:28 tells us, and we know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose. Does that mean that God works coronavirus for His good? Does that mean that God works your layoff for His good? Does that mean that God works my MS for His good? It seems so. This verse says, in all things, God works for the good of those who... Does that mean that the bad situation is actually a good situation just in disguise? Oh, absolutely not. These are terrible situations that are extremely hard to go through. But God's in the process of redeeming those situations for His good. He's in the process of bringing good out of the terrible situation. Did God use the Old Testament Joseph's situation, being sold into slavery by his brothers, for his good? Did God bring good out of the stoning of Stephen? Did God bring good out of the shipwreck in Acts? We see very clearly that God did. The situation itself wasn't good by any stretch of the imagination. But God redeemed this situation and brought good out of it. My MS is terrible. I had traded in a heartbeat for a fully functioning body. But God has used my MS to make me into a pastor who doesn't do everything, primarily because I can't. I have to rely on people. God has used my MS to let me help me relate to folks who can't do what they used to do like they once could. God has used my MS to make me more approachable. Folks come up to me from everywhere and want to just talk. They hadn't seen a day in my life. But God has used me to encourage people. Maybe that's you. Is it good? Well, absolutely not. But God has used that terrible situation for His good. He redeemed it. Then I'm so glad He has. Because if He hadn't, I couldn't bear it. It was all for nothing. The coronavirus has done immense damage across our entire society. How's God redeeming that? Well, many folks are realizing for the first time, or re-realizing what's really important in their life. Many folks are realizing just how important the meeting together as a church family is. Many folks are using this time to reconnect with God, reconnect with family. The church is reaching some people that it never would have reached before. Now, Harvest Christian Church, that's a church out of Riverside, California. Large church, it has multiple venues. They had an online viewership before this lockdown for coronavirus. They had an online viewership of 8,000 people. That's huge. I don't expect us to quite reach that number. But 4 weeks after coronavirus, after lockdown, they had services where they reached, now this is just live, 1.3 million people to watch their live services. That wasn't even their recorded services. Also, the church is being forced to get creative in how to effectively minister, and that's a good thing. As people are looking for help, people are looking for hope, we have an unprecedented opportunity to share the good news of Jesus Christ. Lulian Urban Lorenzo is a 38-year-old doctor from Italy. He released this statement. He said, until 2 weeks ago, we and many of my colleagues were atheists. 100% believe that science excludes God because we're doctors. He goes on to say that he started noticing a man who came in with the Bible and prayed with people, prayed with coronavirus patients. Dr. Lorenzo and his colleagues came to see that, as he says, as human beings, we have reached our limits. There is nothing we can do except to increase the death toll of the people we care about. Then he says, we began to notice his work. We began to feel that God begins where man is. And as a result, Dr. Lorenzo said, we who were atheists until yesterday now pray to God for peace. Pray for us to help care for the sick. The courage that was supposed to be lost has somehow returned. We're more energetic now. Well, the man who'd come to the hospital every day and then pray with folks, he died of the coronavirus. But now Dr. Lorenzo is able to say, now I realize that I am nothing on this earth, but I will live like him until my last breath for others. Then some people might look at that and say, the man died, what a waste. And that man might say, what better way to be wasted than serving God and serving man? Then these doctors were atheists. And then now they're followers of Christ. God is using these terrible situations around the world to make a difference around the world. That the situations aren't good by any stretch of the imagination. But God is in the business of redeeming these terrible situations for his good. We serve a God who redeems. God redeems us personally, but it doesn't stop there. He redeems the situations we face to bring about his purposes. So I ask you, I pray for you. Open your eyes to all that God is doing. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, give us eyes to see the way you redeem every day. Thank you for redeeming us spiritually. Thank you for redeeming the situations we face every day for your glory. Thank you for being so good to us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.